Alright, now we're on How to Rock Halloween. And I gotta say, this is probably the most moderate to mediocre episode of the series. Uh, Not necessarily good, but not necessarily bad either, I'd say. At least most aspects of it. Here's the plot line. Casey wants Gravity 5 for Halloween to go to the Perf's party to perform, and she's dressed up as like a queen, or an English queen of some kind, or British queen, maybe Marie Antoinette. No, Marie Antoinette was French, not English. Except Gravity 5, the rest of Gravity 5 wants to go trick or treating as Fingers. And you know what? Considering the fingers that each of the members of Gravity 5 are, the one that Casey is ends up being by the end of the episode, and inevitably does end up being one of the fingers. She's the finger. Actually, very appropriate. Because you want to give her the finger, that's why. Anyways, they leave, and she ends up tripping and hitting her head, and she wakes up. She's a werewolf, and the rest of the students and teachers in the school are all monsters too. Gravity 5 are werewolves. Andy's Frankenstein's monster. Well, actually, no, he's a zombie. March is Frankenstein's monster. March, played by Kirk Fox. Andy Bartlett is a zombie. And the Perfs are all vampires. Vamperfs. That's what they're called. So, March in this history class talks about the chosen one who will, with their singing, could bring balance to the werewolf world, and that's an interesting concept. And the way, also, I like the little gag they have with the episode, in which they have the little gag with that scene that has March describing how you would recognize the chosen one, and as he describes it, each and every thing happens to Casey in that very moment, so as to indicate that she is the chosen one. Chosy. That's what Grace nicknames her. And that's just hearing that Chosy. Saying it numerous times will just make you go insane. And so Molly's jealous at first that it couldn't be her, but then at the same time, there's another plan, an ulterior motive, and the rest of Gravity 5 soon discovers it. If the chosen one sings on a certain note, a certain high note on Halloween night, a portal will open up that will destroy all the werewolves, or suck all the werewolves in, thus destroying them all. Vampires and werewolves. Can't get away from Twilight now. Can't get away from Twilight at all. So I admit I like the song that the idea of the song as well, that they end up singing at the end. War on the Dance Floor. That works. The context of the song with Casey's state of mind works. The idea that's in Casey's head, I don't believe this is how it would play out if it was in Casey's head. At the same time, they make a mistake showing us what the rest of Gravity 5 is figuring out. Because at the same time, this is Casey's dream. It's all supposed to be in her head. And if she would know it just by dreaming it. Thus, as a result of that, she'd know what was going on, and she'd know not to be a stupid idiot and go forward with it. I think, although, on a flip side, that speaks to the potential idea that Casey knows if she screws up that badly, even if she could prevent it, she'd deserve it. Because she'd be an ignorant fool to not do something about it as a result of that. And also, what I find interesting is in the dream we have Molly distracting Xander when he's trying to stop Casey from singing the note that'll destroy them by flirting with him, and it works. And then outside the dream, at the end, when they're trick or treating as the fingers on the hand, Casey's telling them about the dream, and Xander is interested in the fact that Molly flirted with him in the dream. And so the idea that Casey would think that as well, I think that speaks volumes toward it. Toward these ideas that she has in her head, that even if she wouldn't share them, she still has them regardless. Even if she doesn't like sharing them, maybe if she doesn't agree with them, she'll have them. She'll give her perception on what reality is. And it is a perception of what reality is. It's just, if it wasn't in Casey's mind, maybe it'd be a lot better. Maybe it'd be a lot more interesting. And if they went with it a different direction, it'd probably be a lot more fascinating too. As it is, it's not awful. It's far, far from it. So, to a degree, it works. Well, actually, in the most part, it doesn't, I'd say. It's just, I think the fact that it's Casey's mind, it's all in, and that we know the things she should know that could help everything, and she doesn't. I mean, I know at the same time in a dream, you're helpless to stop. Yeah, that Blue's Clues episode, as good as it was total bullshit. The idea of you can change your dream if you want to. If you're sleeping, you can't. You have to go with everything that happens. And at the same time in your dream, you're responding to everything in your mind. So, it's your perception of what you think could happen, rather than, or what could possibly happen. Or what you, not necessarily always what you want to happen. So, with that being said, to a degree it's understandable why Casey doesn't follow through with it more. It's almost like that aspect came from David M. Israel. She still needs to learn the lesson. She still needs to... We need to follow through with what would happen on a regular basis. Not just consider the fact that it's Casey's dream. It's just if it'd be me, in my mind, and I saw the rest of Gravity 5 figuring out what was happening, I'd be like, oh crap, I shouldn't do that then! I shouldn't do that at all. And then just thinking makes it so. Just in your own mind. Like, seeing that idea. And I know dreams happen very quickly, too, though, when you're sleeping. You almost don't... Well, you won't remember every single thing that happens in the dream while you're having it. And then, after you wake up, if you move around too much, you'll lose your perception of what the dream was, too. Speaking of which, I had a really kooky dream about iCarly once that I wrote down everything that happened in it. I should tell you guys about it sometime. That being said, that's Halloween in a nutshell for you. And what's interesting is the Christmas special was actually made before this one. So, that kind of changes the continuity of the series in that way, in which... Is it just taking place over a few months? Is it taking place over about a year, maybe a couple years? This makes you think. But then again, the last 6 episodes do kind of feel like their own season, rather than... Well, the last 6 episodes in production order. Anyways. Although, they're actually put in appropriate places in broadcast order. But... I'm not going to go into too much detail on that. I'd be going on for hours. See you guys in the next one.